Catching a swarm of bees is one of the most exciting and fun things about beekeeping. Even 8 years in, catching swarms has not gotten old. It's really pretty magical. This swarm was in our own yard. We saw it coming out of the hive and stood in it as it made a tornado above us, and crossed our fingers and prayed to the bee gods that it would settle on a reachable branch. Fortunately, my husband was home to do some necessary pruning to get the big ladder up underneath it. And safety is a primary concern, of course. Swarms are fun, but nobody wants to get hurt catching a pile of bees. Once we had all the necessary things in line, we got our Hive Butler, loaded it up with some drawn comb frames, and got ready to go. And I have to say, having a Hive Butler makes swarm collecting much more fun. I have been up that very same ladder carrying wood ware. It's heavy, it's slippery. I can't hang on to the ladder and balance the wood ware. I've climbed down that ladder many times with both hands balancing a hive full of bees. Not for the faint of heart. So that was a big part of our motivation in designing the Hive Butler, to make something easy and versatile. As you'll see when I go up, I can carry it by any handle. It doesn't matter. The frames are all secure. The reason we put the drawn comb frames in is to provide the bees with a nice place to ride. And whether that's just down the ladder and across the yard as we do here, or maybe we caught the swarm across town, or we're delivering it to somebody, the Hive Butler just makes all of that easy. We can get the bees in, they're on the frames, snap on the lid, and into the truck we go. No bees escaping, no ratchet straps required. Just makes life easier. I tried to convince these girls to get on the frame so I could lower them gently down into the Hive Butler, but they hadn't really been hanging up there very long. We were really on it as far as collecting them. So they were still pretty interested in hanging on to that branch, and it wasn't a branch I could prune off. Oftentimes, if they're on just a little tiny branch, we'll just nip the branch and lower them down in. That was not an option, obviously, here. So once I saw their hesitance, I took the broom and went at it, trying to drop them down into the Hive Butler pretty quickly. You want the big clumps of bees to fall down in, so that the queen doesn't think about flying off to a new location. So it looks kind of brutal, but they're all fine, and I just wanted to try to get her down into the Hive Butler as quickly as possible, because wherever the queen ends up is where everyone else will willingly go. You sweep pretty fast and try to get the weight of their mass to drop in. Again, they're climbing on those drawn comb frames and smelling and finding leftover pollen and nectar. And so we're just watching to see, is the queen in there? And we can tell that pretty much by the demeanor of the rest of the bees. Are they going down into the Hive Butler, or are they going back up to the tree? So we give them a few minutes, and once they were indicating that she was in there, it was an easy carry down the ladder. I didn't even snap the lid on. Closer look here so you can see they're all just checking out the frames and thinking, well, maybe we should live here. Might be easier. You can see the ventilated lid here. The ventilated lid is just what makes the Hive Butler useful in the bee yard anytime. But it allows us to safely enclose them. If we were going a long distance, of course, they get ventilation through the lid, or we could just set the box in the shade while we set up the new location. Gives us time, helps protect the bees and keep them secure while we get done all the necessities. Had a nice little hive here with a frame of capped honey that we saved from last year for just these kind of occasions. So it gives them a yummy snack at their new place. And as you can see, the bees are pretty happy staying on the frame. It's not anything scary or intimidating. They're checking out those frames, and I'm just going to lift them easily into the new hive. And that queen is in there somewhere. So you can see they're happy to move on in. They'll be even happier when they find that frame of honey. I do keep them blocked in for 18 to 24 hours just to let them get a little bonded with that location. And hopefully, since they have drawn comb, the queen can start her business of laying eggs and establishing a new colony. A swarm of bees is a natural function. Almost every hive, if left untended, would swarm each year to replicate itself. It is not a failure of the beekeeper. Lots of beekeepers try to avoid swarms, avoid having them, but it is a sign of a healthy hive. This is what they do. So catching a swarm is just an extra bonus for the beekeeper. They take the original queen with them in the swarm, and they've left behind queen cells at their old colony and about half of the population. So they've split themselves and replicated. So when you catch your own swarm, you've doubled your number of colonies. This particular hive we're going to donate to a little boy in our club who lost a hive over the winter. So we're happy to share the love. And hopefully they will settle in and stay put.